Hey pioneers, an independent auditor just confirmed something about Pi Network's open mainnet code that changes everything, and institutional investors are finally starting to pay attention. But here's the catch. There's one thing standing between us and full activation, and it's not what you think. The third global GCV conference just dropped some critical information that could determine whether Pi becomes the next big thing or fades into obscurity. I'm about to reveal what this independent audit confirmed, why Doris Yimp says the power is completely in our hands right now, and the controversial truth about why we're still waiting. If you click away now, you might miss the most important Pi Network update of 2025. Before we go any further, I need you to do two things right now. First, smash that subscribe button because this channel gives you real Pi Network analysis, not hype or false promises. Second, and this is crucial, I post exclusive breaking news and insider updates on my Telegram and Facebook pages before anywhere else, so check those links in the description below and follow me immediately. Trust me. The next few weeks are going to be intense, and you don't want to be the last person to find out when major announcements drop. All right, pioneers, let's get into what just happened. The third Global Consensus Value Conference isn't just another community event where people share motivational quotes and hopeful predictions. This is a strategic power move with a very specific purpose. Doris Yimp, who leads the GCV movement, just made it crystal clear that this conference is designed to send a message to the entire crypto world. Pioneers are united, educated, and absolutely ready for what comes next. And the timing couldn't be more critical because while everyone's been focused on price drops and negativity, some serious developments have been happening behind the scenes. Here's the bombshell that got my attention, Doris revealed that an independent auditor has actually confirmed technical progress on the open mainnet code. Now stop and think about what this means for a second. This isn't the core team patting themselves on the back or making vague promises. This is an outside professional, someone with no vested interest in hyping Pi, looking at the actual code and verifying that legitimate progress is being made. In the crypto world where we've seen countless projects make empty promises and disappear, independent verification is gold. My honest take? This is genuinely significant news that doesn't get enough attention. However, I really wish we had more transparency about who this auditor is, what firm they represent, and what specific aspects of the code they verified. Details matter. The more transparent we are, the more credibility we build with skeptics and potential institutional partners. But even without those details, this is a major step forward that shows Pi isn't vaporware. There's real technical work happening, and it's being validated by professionals. That gives me hope, but I still want more information. Now, here's where Doris said something that honestly struck a chord with me, She explained that technical progress alone isn't enough. She said that if pioneers behave short-sightedly, panicking, selling at every dip, spreading negativity, then the full open mainnet activation date cannot be determined. But if pioneers rise together with education, patience, and long-term vision, the open mainnet becomes unstoppable. And you know what? This hit me hard because she's absolutely right. Think about it from an institutional perspective, No major exchange, no serious merchant partner, no financial institution wants to work with a community that's chaotic, divided, and driven purely by get-rich-quick mentality. They want stability. They want maturity. They want people who understand what they're building and why it matters beyond just the price chart. The conference is bringing pioneers together globally to showcase real-world applications, merchant adoption success stories, and practical use cases. It's about demonstrating that Pi isn't just theoretical or sitting dormant in wallets. We're actively building an ecosystem with real value and real utility. My honest opinion? This is both empowering and frustrating for me, I love that we as a community have this much power and influence over Pi's future. That's genuinely special, and different from most cryptocurrencies where whales and exchanges control everything. But I'm also frustrated because it sometimes feels like the responsibility is being placed disproportionately on the community while we're still waiting for critical infrastructure from the core team. Where are the major exchange listings? Where are the dozens of utility apps we were promised? Where's the aggressive marketing campaign? You know, community unity is essential, but it can't carry everything by itself. The core team needs to be moving just as aggressively as we are. We're doing our part. They need to match our energy. That's me keeping it 100% real with you. The global consensus value, GCV, of $314.159 per Pi coin often confuses people because it's not meant to be a literal price prediction, but a philosophical statement about value creation. Instead of being controlled by speculators, GCV suggests that Pi's worth should come from contribution and engagement, with the number tied symbolically to Pi's supporters see it as a vision of fairness in decentralized finance, but critics argue it misleads newcomers who might believe the figure is guaranteed or imminent. The truth lies in balance. We can dream big, but we must also set realistic expectations and emphasize that utility and adoption, not abstract numbers, will ultimately determine Pi's value. Right now, Pi's actual market price is under pressure, fluctuating between 0.44 and 0.63. This drop is tied to early miners selling off large holdings, limited app utility, and unconfirmed exchange listings. It's frustrating for many pioneers, but this stage is common in crypto history. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana all struggled before achieving mainstream adoption. The real solution isn't hoping for a sudden pump, but building undeniable utility. Merchants, apps, and real-world use cases are what will shift Pi from speculation to sustainable growth, and the pace of that development needs to accelerate. Institutional confidence is another missing piece. Doris Yimp emphasized that technical readiness is not enough. Institutions need to see a stable, mature, and educated community before committing resources. That's why the conference matters. It signals to merchants, developers, and financial partners that Pi is more than hype. Still, the lack of visible institutional commitments raises questions. The community is showing up, but we need concrete partnerships, measurable outcomes, and real evidence that institutions are engaging with Pi at the same level of seriousness. Finally, the GCV debate highlights both the strength and the division within the community. On one hand, it shows pioneers are asking tough questions and thinking critically. On the other, it creates division at a time when unity is essential. The core team's silence on this matter has only fueled speculation. What the conference can achieve depends on follow-through, building real-world utility, strengthening education, securing partnerships, and proving readiness for full open mainnet. The path forward requires honesty, clarity, and accountability from everyone, the core team, community leaders, and pioneers alike. Dream big, but stay grounded, because Pi's future depends not on numbers or hype, but on what we build together.